Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Apostle G,
And I'm Prophet B. We welcome you.
and welcome to Sunday's Word of Encouragement, where we hear the gospel of Jesus Christ taught and explained, preached, imparted, however, whatever method the Holy Spirit chooses to manifest Himself.
Yes.
We welcome.
Yes.
We are just vessels and conduits to be used for the edification and the glory of God.
Yes.
So with that being said, please come on, please like and share the broadcast. And remember, if you don't stay on long, it is always a blessing to help in assisting the reach of God's kingdom to people who you may know that I don't follow or follow me.
Amen.
So
Amen.
I'm going to like and share. I'm going to do the same thing.
Me too.
And before I do that, let me put right here. No, let me stick to my square.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Father. Yes. I was just thinking about what just came to my mind was McKenna has a special job. She's a special job where she is operating in the unseen realm.
That is true. This is true. This is
She's
very
monitoring.
much. Yeah. You're right.
That's what just hit me.
Yeah, let me share this real quick before I get. Let me get out there right there. Firm foundation. Let me.
Hallelujah. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. Yeah, we're happy to have you. We're happy to be back together. My husband and I have been away doing some traveling, each on our own assignment, but I thank God that we're back this morning together. Thank you for joining us too. And I just want to remind someone, thinking about
blessing to your sister Patty.
Yeah, blessings to you, Sister Patty.
I see you on this, sis.
It's good to see you here this morning. So just wanted to share this with someone. The Lord is reminding me about Esther, how she had to prepare herself for the king. And, there were so many other women that were being prepared, to come into the king's presence and to be chosen to be the queen. But God wanted me to remind someone this morning, it doesn't matter who's in the running with you. God's favor will always show up for you. For you. So don't worry about who is there with you, even if it's a job. I don't know what the situation may be, where there's someone that you may feel sometimes inferior or that they have more going on than you. But just know that God's favor is upon you, and it will show up for you. No matter where you are, what situation you're in, trust God and know that you have the favor of the Lord on your side. Amen.
Amen.
So blessings to you all. Thank you for coming in. And even if you don't stay on, as my husband already stated, please like and share so God's word can continue to flow through the broadcast, the airwaves. In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name. Yes, Father, we come before you now, Lord.
Yes.
Lord, we magnify your name and we lift you up, God.
Yes, God.
We're coming, God.
Thank you, Jesus.
Laying it all on the altar. We're coming before you to cast and lay our burdens down, God, that we no longer choose to carry, Lord, because we understand now that they don't belong to us, God, but that they belong to you, God. You're the burden bearer, God, and that we are giving to you, Lord, on today, this morning, Lord. And we pray now, God, that you open up the eyes of our understanding, that you may illuminate and enlighten us, God, in your holy word in scripture, Lord.
Yes,
God, we thank you right now for the manifestation of your spirit and the impartation of your spirit, Lord.
Yes,
and we thank you for the convictions within our spirit, God, to let us know when things trouble us or whatever comes upon us or whatever happens, whatever attacks us, to let us know that, God, it is not you. These attacks, these things that's coming our way, and the convictions are for things that we may be around or doing that does not reflect your spirit, Lord. God, we bless your holy name on today. We exalt you. We lift you up on high. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Father.
We bless you and we love you. Lip service could not explain or describe how good you truly are to us,
yes, Lord.
To mankind.
Yes, Lord.
You have afforded us all opportunities to worship you in spirit and truth, to love you, to repent, to become part of your kingdom, to become sons and daughters, to become servants of the Most High God, to be used by you, however you see fit, to do away with our will and to take on yours. Thank you. We thank you.
Hallelujah.
Braski kadabakan skorabai. Broski kanamonsi karabai. We thank you.
Yes.
In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Hallelujah. Amen.
Hallelujah.
So with that being said, I want to start by saying it is a pleasure. I'm glad to even be here.
Yeah. And also, I want to say this before you get started, Apostle. These teachings, these gatherings that we have, these virtual gatherings, it is not to make anyone feel bad or condemn you. It is simply to bring you closer to the Creator, the one that everything belongs to. You belong to God. So these messages are to empower you, to encourage you, and to bring you closer with a deeper understanding of the God who owns everything, the God we serve. So with that being said, Apostle, thank you.
I'll be reading out of Matthew chapter 9. I'll be reading out of Mark. I'll give you the scripture address, but I'm just telling you where I'll be coming from. Mark the second chapter, and I'll be coming from Luke 5. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about was I wanted to lay a foundation this morning for where the Holy Spirit will be leading us. You know, there's a need for us to have an understanding of where God is desiring to take us. And when we get to the reality that it is not us, but that it is done by the Spirit of the living God, we'll be able to function more efficiently in the things that God has called us to do. Whatever you have put your hands to do, when you have a revelation or a deeper understanding of what God is trying to release to you. God is not trying to strip or take anything away except what does not belong to him. What does not give him glory is the only thing that he'll strip away from you. But for the most part, God is never trying to take. He is always trying to multiply. He is always trying to bring us to a place of deeper revelation and understanding as it relates to his body, his kingdom, his spirit. And with that being said, things that we've learned, and what we've learned, let me just go ahead and make this known so that my words won't be misconstrued, not for some who's on here, but just for some that may watch the replay and may not understand. I'm not condemning things that we've done in the past to get to this point. What I'm merely saying, and what Jesus is saying, and that we'll see what Christ is saying, is some things that we've done even in our own culture to bring us through Christianity, reading God's holy Bible, understanding what it is to be a holy people. What they did in the past was the revelation that God had opened up for them to understand who he was in that time. There were certain things that God could not release in that dispensation. God will never overbear you or overload you. He will give you what he knows you're able to handle, what you're able to comprehend by his spirit. But God is a God that he is always in continuously implementing new things, downloads, revelations, opening things up so that we can be current when it comes to the understanding of God and his eternal government. Some of us think that Christianity is something of a practice. We just go to a building on Sunday and we sing a couple of religious songs, and then we go home, and then we continue our lives, our journey throughout the week. And then we come back again for the Sunday worship, the same gospel songs, just in a different rotation. And then we leave, and then we go home. Some of us go to Bible study, and then some don't. It doesn't matter, because some ministries, they don't actually have Bible study in the building. Some do it on, even though they have a building, some do it online. But it's here, no there. The things that we've done to bring us to a place where we understand or understood God in context of who he is, that's great. That is wonderful. But we have to understand that God is so much deeper than the information that we have captured, the little snapshots that we have captured in times past. He is a relevant God. He is a cutting edge God. He is a right now God. And some of us don't understand. We disconnect or disassociate God with the works of our hands because what we do may not reflect ministry. So because we may not have a role or we don't wear ministerial garments, we feel like some things in our life we become detached from God, or we detach God from the works of our hands. But I want to tell you today that whatever you have put your hands to do, God is even in that. If it's a vision or idea that God has given you, have you considered to pray? Have you considered to let the King of Glory into your workspace? Have you brought him into the job? Have you brought him into a different space that maybe you have not considered bringing him into? Because he has the answer.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
he has the answer, because he is the answer. He is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to bring him in, because this is sometimes an understanding that we have, that we've been taught to go seek God on Sunday, and then we don't bring God into anything else that we have. It's almost like we're on our own. But God is a God. He fills all space. He fills everything. You can find that in Ephesians chapter 4. He fills all things. So there is not a space that's not filled by God. And even in what we've done that's old, the old is great because it pointed to the God of the future. It was a finger pointing for us to continue in our endeavors, in our pursuit, to continuously follow God in all of his ways. When we look at scripture, Old Testament, because I'm gonna start there. Though it's not part of my topic, let me just go, because I can feel the unctioning of the Holy Ghost. How would our lives look if all we did was come out of the New Testament? Because the New Testament is full of things that was brought over from the Old Testament. The Bible is God's book from start to finish. We read for educational purposes to understand the God of the Old Testament, how he did things back then. We look at the laws, we look at things that God didn't separate from. The Ten Commandments, for instance, it's in the Old Testament, but isn't it something that we have to follow today? It's timeless, is what I'm saying. We don't disregard it or throw it away because it's old. We still have to follow the commandments, because they are just that, commandments that we have to follow. Mm-hmm. And so when we look at God, we have to look at God from a place of wholeness. We don't take him and look at him over here and look at him over there. When we seek God, when we pray to God, yes, we pray in a place of God revealing himself to us in full, not having anything to do with the old or new, but he is God. He is the filler of all things. So with that being said, some of us, even when we've been taught, we sometimes can get stuck in something that's old. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to explain that. When I was away, I was dealing with my mother's debt. My mother had this big patio on her house. And over the years, probably about 20 years, it began to get weak. So she called this guy over there to go ahead and strengthen the deck. Okay. Now, what me and my brother found was that it was a lot of new wood. New wood. It was attached to the old wood. And so it would look good. So my older brother and I, we're working, we're ripping off the decking and different things like that. But it was not until we began to pull up the floor, the decking, that we were really able to see that what was hidden underneath was really no good. And it was new wood because he saw it, because he was the one that initially built it. And so when I was looking at it, I said, well, I don't remember that being there. He said, yeah. He said, such and such came and did this for mommy. He said, but if you look and see, Christopher is not right. And as I began to look and observe, I began to the wood was rotten. Man, I stuck my foot went through. So I said, wow. I said, this is dangerous right here. And when I stepped, I was on the lowest level. I was ground level, but it doesn't matter because it's old. And I'm looking at it and I say to myself, I said, this is crazy. I said, this is crazy. And he's looking at it and he said, all that new wood. He said, it don't make no sense. He says, we'll try to salvage what we can. So in the midst of it, I felt the unction in my spirit to go get my phone. I pulled up the scripture, New Wine. This is where the Lord led me. And I showed my brother in a spiritual context, naturally was what we're dealing with. We're dealing with wood. I said, you see that wood? So you walk back over there and look. Now, the new wood is attached to the old wood that is decaying. So guess what's happening? Because the old wood had already expired, there was no need for new wood to be attached to it, right? Because the weight of the new wood was pulling the old wood, which was destroyed, waterlogged. It had no inside. It was trash. It was no good. And so when you begin to touch it, it just fall apart. So the new board with the old board, everything was just falling to the ground. And when we came down on ground level, after we done took up all the decking, now I'm working in the spirit now because the Lord got my spirit is churning upside down. And this is the word that he began to give me for today because I'm looking at it. So my brother got the wood that he thought he could use, only to find out when he got the new wood, he said, Christopher, look, the new wood was contaminated because it had been connected to the old wood for so long. And when I saw it, I said, you mean to tell me you can't even use that wood? He said, I can't. He said, because yes, if you look at it, he said, Christopher is strong. He said, but the contamination has already set in. He said, the only thing this wood is worthy of, though it's strong, you might be able to use it for just a little while, is the trash, is rubbish. It's no good. You can't even use it. And so when I began to look at what was going on, the Lord really began to speak from that place of how we like to take new things and connect them with old things that's covered up. See, it was an issue that we had to find only when we begin to pull up the decking. When we begin to pull up the board, were we able to discover the rottenness of that wood. When we continue to walk in things that are old, if we're not careful, the things that's old that we refuse to depart from when God has already established something that is new, something that is more beneficial, becomes rotten because no nutrients can flow inside of that. The infrastructure was totally gone. We had to establish new posts to put in so that we could now attach the joists together to put the decking back on top, to stabilize the deck, to get rid of what was old. Now, did we tear the whole deck down? No. Only what was needed. And so when I began to look deeper at this, because God just opened it up and it was good, because that day when my mother got back, we were talking and my brother said, well, shoot, Mama, he said, you should have been there. He said, man, we had church back there. This is what he said. And we really allowed God to just move and open up the understanding of certain things. So I told him, I said, this is why we got to be in a place where we can receive the newness of God. And so with that being said, that is the foundation that I wanted to lay for all of us today by the Spirit of God, is to understand that we should always be in a place where we are receptive of what God is doing, and the Lord will show us how to do it. Because there are things that's in the inside of us that we have to allow God to remove.
Yes.
That's prohibiting the newness of his Spirit to come in, to help fortify us and get us back to that place. And so if you turn to Matthew 9:17, and I really just explained all the scriptures that we're going to read, I pretty much summed them all up. Matthew 9:17 says, exactly 16, because it's all, everywhere we're going to go, I'm going to start with the scripture above it. Matthew 9:16 says, no one puts a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch pulls away from the garment and the tear is made worse. Nor do they put new wine into old wineskins, or else the wineskins break. The new wine is spilled and the wineskins are ruined. But they put new wine into new wineskins and both are preserved. When you look at this, we see that Jesus is having a conversation and explaining a metaphor to the disciples. He's explaining why he doesn't want his disciples to why he didn't want his disciples to follow the Pharisees' religion, especially their fasting practices. Because when you look at the Pharisees and you look at everything that they did, the Pharisees promoted an old system, old practices of how they were able to do things. Here we have the Messiah that has come upon the scene. He is the new. He is the change that we have been looking for. You have followed these things, these practices for so long. I have come to show you a more excellent way of how to execute and fulfill the mandate of my Father's kingdom. When you stay stuck in something old, what you do is you begin to push back the manifestation of God's Spirit wanting to be poured out and dwell in a particular space. Yes. A conference, your vessel, your space, wherever it is. When we get to a place where we feel we've been in it for so many years and that there is no need for me to undo what I have learned, because ain't nothing new about the Bible. God ain't speaking nothing new. Everything is what it is. I'm going to stay right here and we just going to praise him to glory. I come to tell you today that is the furthest thing from the truth. We should always be in a place when we read, we pray for revelation, that we can internalize his spirit to lead and guide us in places that we never thought that we would be led by God's spirit, to be able to be bold, to speak things that may be contrary to the upbringing or the traditional ways of how we were made to receive God, to stand outside of how God chooses to manifest himself to us corporately and as individuals, being equipped to house the giftings of his spirit, whom he sees fit to give, to oversee whatever gift, whatever office he's placed on the inside of us. The infrastructure of his kingdom having been fitly joined together. We have to be joined together in unity. Everyone has their specified assignment from God, fulfilling the mandate of his kingdom, not to step outside of the boundaries of where we've not been called, but to fulfill the space that he's given us to occupy. When Jesus is dealing with the disciples, he is showing them, because they're looking at what the Pharisees are doing. So he is opening the eyes of their understanding, that they're able to see, because what he is doing, he is comparing the Pharisees' rule to old wineskins that are brittle and inflexible, and when filled with new wine are likely to break and spill out. The Pharisees were rigid. They were not flexible. They had no elasticity. They were stubborn. They were stuck on a mindset that this is how it is, and there is nothing outside of this religious formula or platform that we need to follow or that we need to implement. See, the one that they said they were doing it for is the one that was in their midst, showing them the new thing, the new way. Yes, you may have done it up until this point, but even then, you still got things wrong, because you're doing things in the eyesight of people for the applause and the validation of your peers. When you carry my spirit, you will learn to do things in secrecy, and I will authenticate and validate what you have been doing openly.
Yes. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. That's so true.
And so they had a problem with him, because he was teaching what in the same way Jesus was teaching miracles and his authority. They are not like anything we've ever seen before, and they can't fit into old forms and traditions. They were trying to take and box him in, but he's God. And so because they couldn't box him in, his work and who he is outshined the system that they followed. This is what happens when you now have something to measure. See, a lot of us follow systems because we have not been afforded the ability to have a kingdom authenticated measuring stick to measure what's real and what's fake.
Yes.
Jesus was the yardstick. Jesus was the line. Jesus was all the mathematical equations that one could ever use to see what is real, what's heaven sent, and what's fake, what's outdated, what does not need to be used anymore. When you buy tools, when you buy anything, they function the way they functioned when you bought them, only to find out that when there is a problem with what you're using, you'll soon find they'll say either we've revised it or updated, or we no longer use parts for that.
Mhm.
Why? Then some people get mad and they're upset because they want to keep that same old tool because they didn't pay all that money 30 years ago. Wasn't really much when you think about how long ago you bought it compared to now. We get upset because they don't make the parts no more. But this is the blessing. I don't have to make the part no more. When I got the same thing that you're using, it's 10 times lighter and 1,000 times faster. It's more efficient. It's more productive.
Yeah.
It's totally new on every level. You're able to use it with one function. Now they've made it to have 10 functions, but you know what? Ignorance. Whew, I tell you, this is how God looks at us. I'm trying to show you that in me, when you really seek me in me, he is multifaceted. So that means that what you were taught, what you thought that only God can do in this particular arena, God is saying, if you just trust me and allow me to just be poured out into you, you'll soon find that you'll be able to do far greater, far better than what you've ever been able to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Lord.
God can do powerful things in our lives that we couldn't do on our own, and we have to become a new wineskin for God to fill.
Yes.
We have to be the new wineskin that God wants to be poured into. We have to preserve, because when the new wine is poured, the preservation preserves both. The wineskin preserved the wine preserved the wineskin. It is new. But what happens to us is we can't just combine our own way of life with God's, but instead need to be totally transformed and refilled with the Spirit of God.
Amen.
We approach God and we don't want to relinquish or let God speak to us, to let God show us that we're trying to approach an almighty God with our own system, wanting him to accept a system that has been outdated. We want him to accept a system that he is not willing to send a Wi-Fi signal for us to connect to him. Why do I want to open up to allow you to connect to me when you're only trying to connect your old system, your old ideology, your old thinking? You don't even believe that my son served in this capacity. You don't even believe in the gifts of the Spirit. You don't even believe in the ascension gift that my son released in the earth before he passed away. Well, physically, he died on the cross. But y'all get what I'm saying. You don't even believe that he conquered death, hell, and the grave, and that when he did it, it was our entry point into the kingdom. You don't understand that because he did that, we no longer have need of a priest, because we have now become that. a holy nation, a warrior priesthood. We now have the opportunity to enter into the courts, enter into the gates ourselves, because he loved us that much that the Father said, I'm going to send my only begotten son. God understands the loss of a son because he sacrificed his own for us.
Come on.
And we still sit and do old things and paint the picture of a God that is powerless. We sit and we are decrepit and we are doing nothing, and we are saying that, oh, well, I know God gonna do it in God's own time. Let me explain something to you. When you come over into the kingdom, the kingdom is a system that once implemented and empowered by the Spirit of God, we no longer use old traditional terms that say, oh, God will do it in his own time. No, we meet God where he needs us. We meet him in the field. We're not sitting home on the couch not doing anything. We are moving. We create motion. We create momentum. We are moving. We are running. We are doing everything that we need to do so that God can do what he needs to do. He wants to pour out, but he's not going to waste the wine that needs to be poured out going into a skin that is brittle and does not have spiritual elasticity. He's not going to waste it.
Come on. Yes, sir.
He's not going to waste it.
Yes.
He's not. To put new life into the old patterns of thinking was like putting fresh flowing wine in a dry and rotten bottle. He's not going to waste his spirit in something that is brittle, old, dry, decrepit, and rotten. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
Yes.
He's not going to do it. He's not. He doesn't operate that way. That's what we have to understand. And so it is a mindset. It is a paradigm that we sit back and we sing hallelujah. We go into the religious settings and we hear people and we look at people only because if the truth really be told, we're ashamed to admit that because we've been in church for all these years, we have yet to really encounter and understand the true power of God. How many of you have ever really encountered the Spirit of God in such a manner? The prophet, apostle, evangelist, deacon, whoever was getting ready to minister, the power of God came in and shut the whole program down. Everybody was weeping because the presence of God was there to meet the need of the people. When you are religious, it restricts the functionality of the Spirit of God. God will come and have done that. My wife and I have witnessed it. We was in a place and we seen the Spirit of God show up 3 times. We did. And let me tell you something. God did it because God loved him. God was trying to demonstrate something in that atmosphere. Those 3 times that he showed up, that word couldn't go forth. And I don't know, something might have been wrong with that word that was getting ready to come. 3 different times, the apostle couldn't get it together. And the Spirit of God came, pow, Sunday. Then we skipped one Sunday. He gave a word the next Sunday, pow. Then the next Sunday after that, pow. Why? Because he is showing he is God. You know what he was doing? He was implementing a new system to show us this is what kingdom looks like. I am God. I need you to follow the system that I have set up and established for you to follow. Don't follow your own system, your own mindset. You say my name, but you don't believe in the functionality of my son. You don't believe in the giftings that the Holy Spirit gave me. You don't believe in the ascension gift that my son left. You don't believe what the apostles did when they was on high and they had to be in the council of God, that they were able to ordain the deacons to pick up the slack of ministry, day-to-day function, so that they could be in the most sacred place to hear God and to come from prayer and to implement what needed to be done to move his kingdom. Everybody does not have the ability to be taken to that place. This is why Ephesians 3 and 5 is so important. Many get offended when I say that, but I ain't making this up. This is God's word. God is saying that I can't bring, everybody's not mature. I'm not bringing everybody up to the holiest of holies to give information. I don't need everybody to come up. I just need those who can steward revelation, those who can steward the counsel that I have established them in. You know why? Because they are in a place where they are a new wineskin. 3. You looking for? You looking for Ephesians?
5.
Ephesians 3 and 5. Yeah.
3 and 5. I'm sorry.
But when we get rid of the mindset, we'll be able to really see that there is a need for this paradigm shift. We have been stuck in a paradigm that does not reflect God. It reflects the religious church organism or organization, but it does not reflect where God is speaking and taking us now. We've been hearing old messages and we've been hearing things, and people are saying the same thing. They're regurgitating other stuff that they've heard other people say, and we've been cheering people on. But where is the real push? Where is the real manifestation of the Spirit of God to come in? God's word will challenge you. God's word will get you to do things that's new. How can you say you're called of God and there is no type of fruit or functionality of what you've been called to? Sometimes we can be so schizophrenic and discombobulated with old stuff that we're thinking God is saying this, that, then the third, and God does not function or operate that way. God wants you to fulfill the mandate that he has brought into your visibility. He's not going to tell you to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have yet to do 1. 1 is where he is trying to train, develop, and establish you so that 2, 3, 4, 5 will be successful. But it always starts with 1. God can't start you at 3, 2, 5, 4, and then go back to 1. God doesn't function that way. He is a God of functionality in his divine order. God's order is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why? Because when God begins to develop and train us, he is opening up the eyes of our understanding to illuminate spiritual things that we're able to comprehend. We're able to internalize the newness of who he is. And when we understand the power of God, when we understand the revelation of God, then we're able to become bridges for people. That's what we are. We're to be prophetic bridges. That means that the spirit that he has placed on the inside of us, we should have enough God that if my message does not bring change to different generations, then what am I preaching the gospel for? Because the gospel is not necessarily to target one generation. You should have the Spirit of God in you, that when you are in an atmosphere, the word of God should come forth in a manner where you're able to get on the level of those that don't have a great understanding, to bring them closer to Christ. This is why Christ said, even a babe should understand the word of God. This is why God is saying this. Let's go to Mark. You go to Mark 2:22. What is he saying? He says the same thing. Mark 21. No one sews a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, or else the new piece pulls away from the old, and the tear is made worse. Yes. No one puts new wine into old wineskins, or else the new wine bursts the wineskins. The wine is spilled, and the wineskins are ruined. But new wine must be put into new wineskins. Why does he keep first talking about the unshrunk? Because when you look at garments, when I'm buying something, or my wife is buying something from me, I learned over the years to get that stuff that's already pre-shrunk. That means it has already been made, has already been washed, it has already shrunk, so that you don't have to worry about it shrinking anymore. The reason why you see God continue to talk about what's new, he is saying no one puts a piece of unshrunk garment, a new piece, on an old. Why? He says because it pulls away from the old and the tear is made worse. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that. You take something and you sew a patch. Is what it's really talking about, a patch. You're sewing something new on to make a patch. But what is happening is, even when you take the new piece and put it on, once it's washed, there is a strain on the clothing, the patch, that causes what was new put on the old to now pull away, and it is made worse. It cannot stay connected.
It's true.
It can't stay connected. This is just elementary. I'm not even trying to go into a whole, make it more than what it is. It is just plain. It pulls away. It pulls away. And so what happens? The hole that you had becomes far worse. The new is shrinking, and the stitches or the stitchery that's used to place the new on the old, when it begins to pull, they are beginning to fight against one another. So the hole is worse off than it was before you put the patch on it. This is how we are with the newness that God wants to pour inside of us. You see what's going on in there? There's no room for flexibility. When you don't want to be flexible, when you can't move, when you're stale, when you just are stubborn and don't want to shift, this is what happens. The need to not shift is a need for one to be torn. When you know how to shift, then you don't have to worry about being torn. Do what you need to do with me, God.
Oh, yeah.
Put me in whatever you got to. Shrink me. Get whatever does not need to be in me out of me. Because I do not want to carry your name, but not your presence.
Amen.
Because we can say his name, but do not have the presence associated with the name that we claim is Lord over our lives.
Yes.
We are content was not doing anything but using his word, where is the real fruit of what he has called you to? Where's the fruit? We have to sit still and let God minister. We have been doing things so long the way that we've always done it. And when something new comes, we are so complacent. We don't like to be challenged to do anything that's new because we are fighting the spirit of complacency. Complacency is an enabler to get a person to not see the new glory that God is trying to release, even in your own household. We use words like, oh, I'm Baptist, oh, I'm Pentecostal, oh, I'm this, I'm that. Let me explain something to you without you being offended this morning. Jesus Christ never said he was Baptist nor Pentecostal. He didn't even say he was apostolic or prophetic. He just said that he was the Son of the living God. And that he said, anything you do, I don't do unless I see my Father do. He didn't practice in denominationalism. He practiced in kingdomism. He demonstrated the kingdom of his Father in the earth by cultivating and developing the apostles so that they could fulfill the office of the apostle, so that they could take what they were taught by Jesus Christ and implement his teachings that they had the ability for 3.5 years to walk close to the Messiah, the Spirit of God. Make no mistake about it. When we see Jesus teaching them, make no mistake that he was showing teachability and accountability. Why? Because the apostles had to be commissioned, affirmed, breathed on by who? Jesus himself. So that is not something that man can call you to. It is only by an encounter or a summoning by the Spirit of God can you fulfill that office, that function in its perfection, so to speak. How can you get there? You have to be led by Christ. You have to be summoned to get there. Even with what God wants to give us as servants and believers, it is a place that God summons you in the spirit to go. He meets you there. He gives you what you need. God meets the need of everybody. It is just the delegated authority that God has to give different people, different things according to his plan and purpose for who they are in our life. We have to dismantle the works of the enemy in our fortress, in our mindset that allows us to be so shut down and complacent that we feel because we are doing things associated with the name of Jesus that we are doing the will of God. This is why 2 Corinthians 10 says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of stronghold, casting down every imagination and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, but bringing into captivity every thought unto the obedience of Christ. That is a mental and conscious warfare that we have to bring down things that have exalted itself against the knowledge of God. The Bible is the knowledge of God. And when we read the knowledge of God, when God is beginning to speak and God is flowing by his spirit, the exaltation of God's knowledge is to shut down and quench God's spirit. When we are in places, and I've seen just the worship and people beginning to open up. Man, I seen God wanting to come in And you know what happened? Just as quick as God wanted to move, his spirit was quenched. And so the spirit of God, because it was quenched, the full expression of how God wanted to come and minister to the people, God didn't show up that way. Never, we should never get to a place where we begin to disrupt the flow of God. This is what I'm saying. When you are in tune with God, we have to sometimes go outside. We have to sometimes go outside of what we have always been taught, because it allows we get in this place, and it allows us to see God in way that we've never saw him before. When we give him a chance and say, well, you know what? Let me go ahead and just be open to what God has. That's why when we quench his spirit, this is why we have a hard time, because we're too rigid in areas of our life where we don't want to do anything that's new. We're stuck on hymns. We're stuck on everything that we've been doing for a long time. But the question that you have to ask yourself is this: as long as you've been doing what you've been doing, what transformation have you seen thus far doing the same thing that you've been doing and not allowing the freshness, the newness of what God has to offer? And so God is speaking to the nature of the religious system. He is speaking to the nature of the Pharisees and different things that they've been doing, because when he is speaking, we can see the systems at work. The systems today represent a lot of the different denominations that they truly do not honor the fullness of who God is. So where you see the expressions and manifestations of God's spirit in a lot of these places, no, you won't. Because if you don't believe in what will unlock and open up that realm for God to come in, no, this is why they don't understand what transformation looks like. They don't understand it. The last one, when we go to Luke 5, '36. And the reason why I'm reading them is because as you read it, there is a progression of what is being spoken. It doesn't remain the same. There is different stuff that Matthew said. There's more added when Mark said it. There's more description when Luke said it. In verse 36, he says, then he spoke a parable to them. No one puts a piece from a new garment on an old one. Otherwise, the new makes a tear, and also the piece that was taken out of the new does not match the old. You understand what God is saying? It does not match the piece that was taken off. It does not match the old. No one puts a piece from a new garment on an old one. Otherwise, the new makes a tear, and also the piece that was taken out of the new does not match the old. So there is a conflict with new and old. It's a conflict. is a conflict. It is a conflict of interest, spiritual interest. Now, God wants to do a lot in our lives, but we have to not be biased, and we have to resolve the conflict, because there's a conflict. See, there's a conflict even with people in the charismatic movement. You know why? Because for people that function in the kingdom, the prophetic or what the apostolic, whatever, they don't desire to deal with those people. That's wrong too. That's wrong too. See, what Jesus did is, even with the Pharisees, he didn't shun them. You know what he did? He showed the new system. See, that's what we're dropping the ball. As being kingdom believers, we want to talk down and say they don't believe this, they don't believe that, and we don't want to deal with it. But see, that was never Jesus's take. He always exemplified his kingdom, and he didn't run from anybody. He stood and he said, "Thus saith," whatever his heavenly Father was telling him to say. Is what he did, is what he spoke when he prayed. Everything he did, he not glorified himself at all, but he gave all glory to God. Everything that God spoke to Jesus Christ is what Jesus Christ gave us. Everything that we've seen Jesus Christ do, he says he doesn't do anything of his own charge. He said, but whatever you see me do, it's because I've seen my Father do it first. Is why I'm able to do it, is why you're able to do it. This is what he's saying. So when you take up and you have my spirit on the inside of you, then it's thus saith the Lord. Everything I do because Christ does it. Everything Christ did is because the Father done it. This is why he said, it's expedient that I go. Greater work shall ye do, because it's I that go to the Father. He is showing an internal kingdom, a protocol, a blueprint on how to be efficient in the kingdom. No hiccups, no hindrances, no delays. Sometimes we have these things and we get so discombobulated and we get so confused and we get so angry and we don't understand what's going on. Some of what is coming to oppose you is because you are on the right path, and the enemy wants to come to delay. The enemy wants to come to hinder and bring confusion, because you have now stepped out into the deep. So you have to discern the type of attack that's coming. You have two different kinds. You have a kind to keep you confused, because that's how you've always been operating. And then and that's not really an attack, so to speak. That wouldn't really be attack, because that's something that you have always been connected to by way of tradition. So tradition does not want to let you be free. So I wouldn't call that attack. That is something that's dealing with your upbringing, what y'all believe. It is a generational or family practice. But the attack is different. It is coming to push back and oppose the God that you chose to serve, which is the Almighty Elohim, Jesus Christ, that God, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Lord of hosts, the Lord of heaven's armies. That God, when you have found that God, and he has brought transformation into your spirit, then the enemy does come and want to oppose you, because the opposition that you are facing is because you are breaking ground. You found your identity. You know that you have done things that may not have always pleased God, and you have a mindset at one point in time that you didn't really believe it, but now that God has brought you into the fold, he has shown you the newness. He has spoken by his prophetic spirit to you, and you've seen things that he's spoken come to pass. It is God's way of allowing you to gravitate more closely to his spirit, to walk more intimate with him. God does what he does. It is to bring us closer to him, that we can be his disciples. And when it says, and no one puts new wine into old wineskins, or else the new wine will burst the wineskins and be spilled. See, the old wineskins can't take it. You know why they can't take it? Because they have already rejected it. They can't take it. They don't want anything that's new. And have you ever been around somebody that's so complacent with an old nasty taste, the season that they use, even the cooked stuff is out there. You still using that old stuff? Man, we got some stuff over here, man. It comes from over here, and it has this, it has that. Oh, it will just totally enhance the flavor, and it'll just be pleasing to the palate of your tongue, and you'll be well pleased with every bite. They will reject what is refined to continuously use what is old. It doesn't taste good. The new doesn't always taste good to people, so they don't want to digest anything that's going to be nutritious, the nutrients of it. They don't want. Why? Because they are stuck, and they have been programmed by way of their own traditional ideology to automatically, like autopay, automatically push back and reject what's new, what's revelatory, what's cutting edge. It automatically kicks it out the system. It has no sustaining power. No sustaining power. It's no good. It's good, but it's no good to what don't want to receive it. He says, or else the new wine will burst and be spilled. This is why there is a need for the new wine, which is the revelation, the Spirit of God. See, everything that God is wrapped up in the Holy Ghost. It's wrapped up in God's Spirit. When we get to that true place where we receive, we have to understand first, the first key to having the door open to receive all that he has is the door of repentance. He says, no one puts new wine into old wineskins, or else the new wine will burst the wineskins and be spilled, and the wineskins will be ruined. But verse 38 says, but new wine must be put into new wine skins, and both are preserved. What is God saying? How do we receive the new wine mindset? Repent means so much more than being conscience stricken or contrite. The Greek word is a form of metanoia, which means to undergo a fundamental change in one's mind or character. To repent is to change one's thinking, shift your paradigm. Romans 12 and 2. You go to Romans 12 and 2.
Romans 12 and 2. Yes, sir.
Romans 12 and 2. What does it say? We live for.
Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
New wine.
Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will.
New wine. That is what new wine looks like.
Yes.
This is why when we repent, this is what it looks like. It is not just to be conscious of one area, but it is a transformative authority that begins to take us to the depths of that place where God begins to then refine our thinking and the capacity to be equipped and on the cutting edge of what he desires for us to exemplify being his servants. Right now it's not about the title or function. Now it is about merely just being open-handed to be recipients of his spirit by being humble, walking in the spirit of humility by way of being a servant.
Yes.
I am transformed by the renewing of my mind. I have the mind of Christ that's inside of me. All these things that I wrote are from scripture, but they are affirmations that keep us with a cutting edge newness about ourselves, that keep us in tune with the new direction that God has taken us.
Yes.
I am transformed by the renewing of my mind. I have the mind of Christ that's inside me. I lovingly release all old, unproductive thoughts and feelings and let them go. This is what's been hindering. This is what allowed you to have no real spiritual elasticity. This is what has been hindering you. You become old, smelly, stale, and brittle. But see, when we say these, we are building an altar before God. When we say, I am transformed by the renewing of our mind, an altar is erected. I have the mind of Christ that's inside of me, and an altar is being erected. When I say, I lovingly release all old unproductive thoughts and patterns and feelings and let them go, an altar is being erected and raised up on my behalf, because it is the place of sacrifice. And what I'm saying when I decree and declare these things in the presence of God is that, Lord, what I'm saying is, Lord, I cannot do any of this without you. I laid down my life and I laid down everything, God, about myself that has been unproductive. I laid down everything that's caused me to miss your glory, to see you, to miss your encounter, to miss your presence, to miss the impartation, to miss the manifestations of your spirit because of my old mindset and the need to be too rigid, unflexible. We thank you, Father, and we bless your name. This is what God has been trying to bring us into. But see, what happens is when we say that we are going to see, a lot of people will begin to run from this type of teaching, this type of word and manifestation that God wants to do in your life, because the word hurts, the word cuts. See, the word first found me. The word found me first. Oh God, the word found me because I began to look at that old rotten stuff on the inside of me. And God began to tell me that, son, you have stuff on the inside of you. Yes, you've been doing well, but you have things inside of you that you have not dealt with. They're old, and they have been hindering you in areas from the fullness of what I have been trying to pour out to you. And I am a man to admit it and to say, my God, if you show me, let me be open to the rebuke, the correction. Strip me, oh God, get this contamination and this cancerous stuff out of my soul, because I do not want to be hindered, Lord, in any shape, form, or fashion, anything to stop me from the full functionality of who you've called me to be, God. Oh, in the name of Jesus. Oh, God, I bless you. And God, I thank you today. We get in a place of spiritual funk. We don't want to shift. We don't want to move. We want to stay right here. We want to keep that stinking thinking. We want to keep that mindset. We're unwilling to let stuff go, and we're unwilling to receive what's new. Yes, and because we are unwilling to do so, then we are unwilling to receive the prayers on the other hand that we are praying to God. Because if you're unwilling to conform, then you should be unwilling to receive the prayers that we're praying to. The same God is the same God that we're rejecting, things that we choose to believe, mindsets and paradigms and stuff that we don't want to break free from. We want to say, screw everything else. I don't believe in it. I'm going to stay right here. But this same cutting edge God who you're praying to, you want to be the recipient of your prayer that you want God to answer, but you have rejected 80% of his deity and who he is.
Hey, come on. Hey, my God. Thank you, Jesus.
You got to accept God in his fullness. I changed my thinking now from lack to plenty, from illness to health, from the old me to the new me. I'm going to let my wife put these things in. These are a declaration that's going to help us remain in the new place. When we speak this, that we're speaking well over our spirit to build an altar. We say this every single day, and it allows the presence of God to find you. It allows the altar to be highlighted and identified in the realm of the spirit. You're saying this, and God is going to meet you because you are decreeing and declaring this over you.
Okay. Yes, Lord.
I welcome the new ideas of Christ into my mind to make me transformed. We are allowing no room for stale traditions to have its tentacles in our mind any longer. We are severing and breaking free every ideology and every traditional works of the spirit that has allowed us to be bound to that religion. And we have been liberated and legislated and translated into the kingdom of God. See, a lot of ideologies are political views and different things that we battle, because what we do when we accept one and contend the other, it is just like Paul and Apollos. I follow Paul, I follow Apollos. But see, what you're missing is that Paul and Apollos are following Christ. This is what I'm saying. So just imagine you following him, you following John, and you following Mark. But what you're missing is the fact that they are both are following. They both are following the Spirit of Christ because they understand they are submitted to the headship of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. And you're picking and choosing a vessel who you're following.
Yes.
I'm following Bishop so-and-so over here. Mm-hmm. The traditions. Mm-hmm. Now, this is where I've showed you the picture of those that's following Christ. Now, let me say, when you're following somebody that's not following him, that's stuck in tradition, only thing that does is keep you further bound in who you are. God is not desiring for you to be who you've been for 20 years. God has been sounded the clarion call for you to be liberated and set free from that occultist controlling ministry. But because they gave you a little mic to speak and give you a little platform, then you felt compelled to stay right there where you are. Why? Because you've got up under the accountability of the Lord thy God and gave allegiance to the man that has the authority to minister, because that's his church. You're not concerned about the plans that God has for your life. You're not concerned about the vision that you know God gave you. The only thing you're concerned about is walking out the order of God, not in the context of the order of God. You are in a place where God has not authorized you to be, because you are walking in rebellion, because you are functioning outside of God's true divine authority and order. Let me just say that you're walking outside of God's order. And we like to attach God's name to disobedience. It's like the woman trying to do everything that she wants to do when God created Adam first. There is a protocol that we must be willing to follow. The only way a woman can be led in that capacity is if a woman ain't got a husband to cover her. Outside of that, anything outside of that, we like to hear. But what are you hearing? We could be so heavenly minded and high minded up in the clouds. What are you really hearing? Because I don't think I hear a God of defining his own order. I don't think I read about a God that defies and says, oh, you don't got to do that. I have yet to read it. Someone will have to show that to me. So when we get to Luke 5:38, it says Luke 5:38. So where do we get new wineskin? That new wineskin can be made from old wineskin. It can be made from old wineskin. And I'm going to show you, and then we're going to let the Lord have his way, and then we're going to speak thus saith the Lord. We're going to pray, and that's going to be it. But it is important that we understand the function and the movement of God. Where do we get it? 38. It says, but new wine must be put into new wineskins, and both are preserved. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to flow in the spirit now. The word new, when referring to wine, is neos, which means recently revealed or what was not there before. So when we hear the word new, some of us think is new. And see, I already know. This is why I waited to set this up for last, because it's not what you think. That's why words are important. Words define and open up what God is truly saying in the context of Scripture.
Yes.
See, we thinking new. Because if that's the case, and I'm going to say this prophetically, if that's the case, then because we have already been created by God and some of us are 50, 60, 70 years old, then that means that if we're old and only new wine can go in new wineskin, then that means we have missed the mark and that we are no longer benefit to God. That means he could just 86 and trash us and throw us away. Wouldn't that be fair to say?
I'm glad that's not the case.
Wouldn't that be fair to say when we hear the word, when we hear the word new? See, this is important. This is why we really have to understand it and be biblically sound and literate to God's word. This is why I thank the Lord for a teaching grace.
Yes.
That we can break down his word so that we can internalize it in the fashion that it should be. When the word new, when referring to wine, is neos, which means recently revealed or what was not there before. In the marital ceremony, when he turned the water into wine, what did he use? He used water to create wine, but the wine that they tasted was a wine that was not there, but the substance to create the wine was. Water, his spirit. Water is a representation of spirit. So what did he do? He gave prophetically, he gave us a taste of what his spirit is. This is what it means. Neos. It means recently revealed or what was not there before. See, that wine that he created was not there. The substance was, but the wine wasn't. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith, the substance of things hoped for, but it is the evidence of things not seen. The wine was not there, but the substance to bring forth the full manifestation of the wine was. So what are you saying, Apostle? Spirit recognizes spirit. You can't take spirit out of spirit. Spirit is just that. Water is the spirit of God. Yes. Jesus took what represented him, and out of him he took water and made it wine. So did he travel somewhere foreign? No, he didn't. He used what was there. He is Christ. He is the Son of God, the Son of Man. He showed up. He's present. The only thing he did prophetically was just allow us to get a taste of his spirit. That's why they said the best for last. When we've tried all of these false gods, when we've tried all of these other religions and all of these other things, that the best is last. He says we done run around our whole life doing stuff, trying to find love, trying to find happiness in marriages, relationships, and education in school. We've been running behind the educational God and the political God, and we've been doing all of this type of stuff to make us feel good. But when God shows up on the scene, it's but you have not tried me. You have yet to try me. Matter of fact, I'm going to let you try me in a fashion that you can comprehend. I know y'all don't really like a whole lot of water, so I'm going to present my spirit in the form of the best wine your lips have ever tasted, and the intoxication level that you will receive from drinking it is out of this world. Why? Because it is a feeling of euphoria that you cannot get drinking anything that has been made by the hands of man.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
It's not that it's new. It means has not been revealed. It's been recently revealed of what was not there before. And the word new, when referring to the wineskin, is kanos, which means new quality, innovation, fresh in development. Oh my God, from glory. So do you see what God is speaking to us today? Do you see the dimension in how God is ministering to us today? He is a God of innovation. He is a God of development, fresh in development and innovation. So the word new here is referring to wineskin, which means new in quality, innovation, fresh in development, or opportunity, not found exactly like this before. The word suggests that the wineskin can be renewed. Old wineskin can be repurposed through innovation. And this is what God is saying to many of us at this time.
My Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
I'm not trying to make you new because you're old and brittle. I'm trying to refine you. When I refine your mindset, when I refine your mindset begins to transform and you begin to be repurposed, refined. You begin to become innovative. And when you become innovative and fresh in my developmental stages that I have for you, now your mind is the wineskin that I can now pour my spirit into, to house, to hold, to preserve, to speak, to move, to prophesy, to understand, to be enlightened, to speak, illumination. This is what God. So when we see Luke 5:38, it is a key right here. We miss it. We think God is not saying it. It's right here. But new wine must be put into new wineskins, and both are preserved. How do you become new? Repent first. How do we get this? Do not be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by what? The renewing of your mind. The mind being renewed brings about a transformation from an old, dirty wine vat into something that can be refurbished. We've been repurposed. We've been redesigned. We've been restructured. We've been innovative. We are made fresh in development of the press of God's kingdom press. And he has given us a mandate to be able to receive all that he has for us. See, with the illumination brings revelation. When we read, we are able to see the hand of God move in dimensions and ways we've never seen God before. He'll be able to speak through your dreams and your visions and things that God says, I've given you. He says, I'll bring to pass the visions and things and ideas that I have given you, because it is my desire that the world sees. Yes, you might not be a platform pastor, but you are one who I allow to be innovated by my spirit, and that I have yet to put you on display for the world to see. When you yield to the spirit and you are obedient to me, I will give my glory and allow it to illuminate over you in the marketplace, and people will be drawn to you, and they'll even come to you and don't even ask you, how did you do it? And the only thing that you'll be able to say, but God, because you'll never strip God of his glory. Only thing you'll be able to say is but God, because everything you did in your natural power, it fell to the ground. And the only thing that you'll be able to say is my God, but God. God did it for me. That's why he says fresh in development or opportunity, not found exactly like this before. The word suggests that the wineskin can be renewed. Old wineskin can be repurposed through innovation. And this is what God is saying into us. I want to repurpose you. I want to redefine you.
Hallelujah.
I
Yes,
want
God.
to renew you.
Yes, God. Yes, God.
Era baskia no
Yes,
moso.
God. Yes, God. Hallelujah.
New
Hallelujah.
wineskins
Hallelujah.
are made from old
Thank you,
wineskins
Jesus.
because the new wineskin is the new us. The
Hey.
old wineskin is the old man. It's
Hey.
the old nature. No, I'm not going
Hey.
to kill you and give you a new body. I'm going to refurbish and repurpose the body that you already got. When
Thank you,
I renew
Jesus.
your mind, your body will be renewed. It'll have spiritual elasticity. It'll be able to be more flexible than it ever has been. Because when I'm
Yes.
pouring in you, you help to take the old wine vats of others and to show them what it is to be repurposed, and that
Thank you,
I can
Jesus.
put my wine
Hey,
on the
God.
inside of their wineskin.
Yes,
And then
God.
it's called multiplication. And then the same thing, 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 and then the same thing. This is the multiplication of what discipleship looks like.
Yes, God.
Korabai, yenda kodabosia, raski kadabokondrabai, yera kosombo kuyana bosia.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. But I tell you, you cannot do this. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now. You got to repent. You got to get back into that place. Many of us walk around in offense. We spend years being offended. You're only offended because you have yet to have tough skin. You're offended because when you're not walking in the full counsel of God, you allow the spirit of offense to overtake you. When you're strong in God, the spirit of offense does not have a toehold. It doesn't have the ability to grip you because you've been
Amen.
fortified, you've been encouraged, built up, strengthened by the Spirit of the living God. The Holy Ghost has girded you up. So when you come with your antics and your tactics and your sarcasms and your darts and all of this stuff that you come at me with, I am so built up in God. I have no time to wear garments of offense, brother. Only thing I will say in love is, may the Lord rebuke you. Because I don't receive all of what you have to say about me, because I walk in the spirit of humility. And when you see me, it's not me, but you see the Father that dwelleth on the inside of me.
Yes.
Is what you see. I don't have time to come down when He has allowed me to taste what ascension in Him looks like. Oh my God, from glory.
Yes,
I
God.
dare
Yes,
not
God.
descend
Yes,
to deal with people that have been desensitized by the devil. Oh no, I won't. Not on my watch. I'm not coming down for anything. You
Yes,
want
Lord.
me, you're gonna have to go up to get where I'm at.
You gonna
Everybody
have to
wants
ascend.
you to come down, and this is even natural when you travel and you go to places. You know, everybody wants me to go here and there and then. Sometimes when you're on an assignment, you got to understand the mandate. If you want me, you got to come find me. I can't come down off the assignment to be pleasable to all. I got to
Amen.
stay up in the assignment. And if you, in fact, want to be a partaker of what God has, then you'll find and receive the impartation. But if not, I have to stay at a certain spiritual altitude, because that altitude allows me to see Him. That altitude allows me to hear Him. That altitude allows Him to be so close. I feel the presence on the inside of me, and it allows me to speak. As long as I'm at that altitude, I have the ability to speak from that altitude down to the people.
That's right. Hey.
So remember, wineskin, new means kainos, Kainos. It means new in quality. New. So we've been made new when we have be not conformed to this world. conform to this world. That is the old paradigm. That is what we are shifting from. So be not conformed to this world. There is a severing. There is a delivering. This is what deliverance looks like. This is the deliverance right here, right here, right here. It's severing it right here. Do not be conformed to the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. When we do all of this, the word new is referring to the wineskin is Canaan, which means new in quality. So when we sever from that, we are allowing this place of spiritual posture now to be of high quality. Oh my God, from glory. Man, the quality that we are now are way better than the quality we had outside of God. And it is a quality that he affirms. It is a quality that he has QC'd. He has quality checked, and that he has now said it is ready and worthy of innovation and fresh development. Oh, and or opportunity. Not found exactly like this before, but the word suggests that wineskin can be renewed and repurposed. My God. So if you're walking around in what's old, you're going to have to transition into what's new. Because he is not in the old. He is not functioning in the old. We ain't doing burnt offerings. We ain't allowing the priest to speak to us. And if you are doing these things, you are in error. We are our own priest. It's in the word of God. We don't need another man no more. He's giving us the beautiful, precious gift to be able to approach him in the holies of holies without the approval of man. He's given us the ability to do away with the sacrifice, to be the sacrifice. That's why I beseech you, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto him, which is our reasonable service. Do you see what that looks like? It is doing away with the old priesthood and bringing us into the entrance of what's new. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord.
Hallelujah. I thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
Lord, we bless you.
Bless you.
We bless you, God. We bless you.
Bless your name, God. Yes, Lord, we thank you.
Lord, may you bless everyone, God, in the mighty name of Jesus, God. Oh, that you take them to that place, God, on the mountaintop, God, that you may speak to them, God, and show them, God, what they need to do, God, to get into that place with you, Heavenly Father. They've heard the clarion call, they heard the trumpet sound, they heard the warning, and they heard the word. Now, God, right now, I pray for everyone to move expeditiously on what was spoken concerning them, Lord, in their own lives, God, that they don't miss you, but that they find you and they do away with the old mindset, the old thing, the old tradition, the old sound, and take on what's cutting edge, innovative, and new, God, by the Spirit, God, your Spirit, God, to even tune their ears to the Davidic sound that you're even releasing, even in this hour right now, the sound of worship that opens us up to allow your presence to come down where we are, God. Kinamo Rababa Sandia Rabos Kondroko Rabba Sandi Kadaboko Ria Bokonski Kadabosia Karababa Sambo Kuraboso. Hallelujah, Jesus. We bless you. And thank you.
Glory.
I pray
Thanksgiving.
Your blessings upon everyone, God, that may this word find them, cut, rebuke, admonish, chastise, build up, correct, turn around, deliver, sever, strip away, and to put on all that is needed so that they can be in the place to receive the fullness of your presence and the newness that you have thereof. It is in Jesus' matchless name I pray. Amen. I pray that everyone received this word. I pray that the word finds you on and off the set. Everyone has a blessed day.
Yes, God. Oh, yes, Lord. Thank you, Father.
And someone may come on here and I'm gonna say some people are struggling. They're in a struggle right now, and because God ain't turning me loose. Some people are in a struggle right now because they've been doing things for so long in a particular fashion. And I hear the Lord saying that you're going to have to break free because you're at a crossroads right now. It's either choose family or choose me. And the reason why the fullness of what you've been called to seems like it has not manifested is because you are outside of my divine order. So what I've called you to is not manifesting because there is something in the way. There is an idol that has been created. So dismantle the idol. And you're going to have to choose me. Family or me. Friendship or me. When God calls you to a work, the fruit of what he called you to should be seen, not necessarily in the following, but in the obedience of doing. So may this word find you.
Don't forget, it could be an idol of pride.
Yep. But may the Lord reveal it to you. May the Lord, the Apostle Romans said, may the Lord give you understanding because you know who you are. When they find you, listen, and it finds you, you'll know it's you because it'll convict and it'll strip and it'll open you up to receive all that God has for you. Hallelujah in Jesus' name. Yes. I think all that came on here. It's been a blessing. Patty, everybody. Cedric, be encouraged. Be encouraged, my brother. Listen to the Spirit of the Lord concerning the things that God has been requiring you to do. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
He's looking for you to fulfill those things which he's called you to. Those promises. He's looking for you. He's looking for you. He's looking. He's looking. Hallelujah. He's looking.
Hallelujah.
He's looking. Yeah. Hallelujah. I don't believe in quenching the Spirit of God just because we get to a particular place. Sometimes we have to hover. We have to allow God's Spirit to linger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus. My Lord. My Lord. Thank you, Father. Yeah. And I was listening to in the Spirit, and I was hearing the Lord say, we can't praise man more than we give him praise. Then men become your idols. Sometimes we praise celebrities, we praise even people of God. We give them more praise and more thanksgiving than we even give the Father. So we have to consider that. We have to look at our ways. Are we praising man? Are we giving them more praise than we are giving God? We're idolizing men in our hearts. Celebrities, we're idolizing them more. Presidents, we're idolizing them more than we're giving God the praise. It's okay if you choose to vote. It's okay if you have a favorite. All of that is okay. But when we give more time to that, when we put in more energy to that than we even give to God, it's a dishonor to Him. And then we make uh, men our idols. Apostle was talking about the idols. We can make pride our idol. We can make money our idol. We can make our children our idol. We can make our church our idol. So God wants us to be mindful of these things. What do we give more thanks and time to becomes an idol in our hearts to God. He should be first and foremost. That's in His word. It's not what I'm saying, but it's what God says. He is first. He is priority. So even though we have things God understands, as people of God, as just human beings, we are going to have things that we favor. We're going to have things that we love, but those things should not be priority over God. We have put so many things so many things in the forefront, even our jobs and even our education. We have placed those things before our mighty God. All of these things belong to Him. Everything that you see, God created, and He's given man the ability to create from His ideas, from His wisdom that He poured into us when we were even in our mother's womb. So we have to prioritize God in this new season. Do some things new. Do something new to please the Father. We will waste our whole life trying to please man. Even our husbands, we'll try to please our wives. We'll try to please our children. We'll try to please our pastor. But God says, please me in this season. Make me first. I will take care of the rest. That is His word. Make Him priority. Cast your cares, cast your worries. Your worry can become an idol. It's all you think about. You worry, you worry, you worry. Then we are doing God a dishonor, a disservice, because we don't believe the words that are coming out of His mouth. When He says in His word, cast your cares upon Him. Worry less about these things, these bills, these jobs, these connections. We make connections an idol. Thank you, Lord. We make connections an idol. Who we're connected to becomes an idol. We prioritize that. We promote that more than we promote God. And another thing, when we hear men and women that are talking truth coming from the word of God and from heaven, we will dishonor them because we don't like them, but they carry God. They carry God. They carry the word of God. Do you not know you are not hating on them? Do you not know that you are not doing a disservice to them, but you are doing it unto the Father who has sent them? Consider your ways in this season. Put God first. Stop worrying about all that other stuff that has you all over the place, that has your home in a disarray, have you you're depressed, you're oppressed, you have anxiety, you have all these things. You know why? Because you have not followed the word of God. Repent and follow God. Cast your cares on Him. Put things in order, and everything shall fall into its rightful place. Amen. Hallelujah. We love you, and God loves you so much. He loves us so much. He brings us together to help each other. God, we thank you. We thank you, God, for this beautiful day. We thank you for each and every heart that is gathered here today, pure in heart and truth, God, to serve you, to hear what you have to say, to help us. Thank you, Jesus, for loving us so. We love you. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed Sunday. We will talk to you soon.
Bless you.
Bless you. In Jesus' name.